We've all heard people describe wine by the bouquet or the way it smells. But are you supposed to taste wine with your taste buds? Not really. According to professional sommeliers or wine stewards, you have to taste wine with all your senses. Today we're going to discuss the proper way to taste wine. So today we're going to talk about the proper way to taste wine by tasting it with all your senses. And we're going to have Chris come in and assist us in demonstrating the proper way and techniques for tasting wine. Chris, if you could have a seat, please. Hi, Chris.
Hi there.
Okay, the first thing we want to do is pick the wine up by the stem of the glass so as not to heat the wine up. This is very important because once wine becomes too warm of a temperature, it's not going to impart the proper flavors. Chris, can you tell us another reason for not picking the wine up?
One other reason not to pick the wine up this way is you will get sticky fingerprints all over the glass, and you don't want that.
And we all know that drinking wine is an art form, so we want to keep it as refined as possible to maintain the artistic integrity of the wine itself. Okay, so we're going to pick the wine up by the stem, tilt the glass slightly, and we're going to examine the wine for clarity. Now what we should see with a good glass of wine is that surface should be reflective and shiny, not matte. A shiny reflective surface indicates a fresh and crisp quality of wine. The next step in properly tasting wine is to swirl. You may swirl from the air, or you may place the wine on a flat surface and swirl from there. Either way is fine. What swirling does is it allows the wine to oxidize or open up, imparting air into the wine for full flavor recognition and taste. Now that we let the wine breathe and have allowed for some oxidation or some air to get into it so the wine can open up, as we say, we are now going to use our nose, our taste buds, all our senses to taste the wine. So Chris, if you could taste that. We're going to swish the wine slightly in our mouth. And Chris, could you also tell us what flavors or notes do you think that wine imparts?
Definitely some cherry. It has a definite strong vanilla smell to it.
Are there any floral aromas?
No, actually more vanilla and a hint of plum to it.
Okay, is it a little spicy, or would you say more of a flat wine?
I would definitely say it's bold and spicy.
Okay, so another thing about wine is with your nose, your taste buds, your senses, also using them to determine what notes or aromas the wine imparts. And this is also a very important part of wine tasting. Now one thing we're going to do, we're going to tilt our wine again now that we've taken a sip, and we're going to examine the surface of the wine to determine if there is much of a color difference between the circular edge of the wine and the inner body of the wine. What this indicates is the amount of aging or oxidation that is taking place in the wine. Now this wine seems to be more uniform. There is not a clearly darker edge, which we refer to as the meniscus, than the inner part of the wine. So this wine is a fairly new wine. It has not aged much and has not had much oxidation taking place. This is another part of proper tasting of wine. Okay, now we're going to review the proper steps for tasting wine. First, you want to pick the wine up by the stem so as not to heat up the glass and create unsightly smudge marks on the glass. Remember, drinking wine is an art. Next, we're going to tilt the glass and examine the wine for clarity. With wine, you also want to have a shiny, reflective surface, and this is an indication of a fresh, crisp wine. The next step is we're going to take a deep smell of the wine to get a full feel for the aroma, the fruitiness, the flavor of the wine. We are then going to swirl the wine. Again, you can do this in the air or place the wine on a flat surface. This allows the wine to oxidize, also getting air into the wine. And this allows for the true flavors of the wine to come through, for the wine to open up, as we say. Next, we're going to take a deep smell of the wine again. As it swirls and opens up, the flavors are going to be enhanced. Again, we're trying to use all of our senses, so as we take our first sip, we are going to use our nose, our taste buds. We're going to swirl the wine in our mouth a bit for the full flavors to impart. Now we have examined the wine visually, we've smelled it, we've tasted it, and we've let it open up to breathe. This is all part of proper wine drinking. Enjoy. Sante.
Sante.